I'm Lauren Taylor. This is Al Jazeera live from London. Also coming up, anger in the Democratic Republic of Congo over the decision to exclude key opposition areas from voting in Sunday's presidential elections. Indonesia's volcano alert level is boosted over fears that Anak Krakatau could erupt again and trigger a second tsunami. And we visit the Guatemalan town where residents are taking up paintbrushes to unify their homes and their community. Hello. In a series of royal decrees, Saudi Arabia's King Salman has announced a major government reshuffle. The most notable among the changes, the demotion of one of the most high-profile faces of the Saudi government, Foreign Minister Adel Al-Jubeir. This as the kingdom struggles to contain the political fallout following the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Dosa Jabari reports.
Adel Al-Jubeir, a former advisor to the late King Abdullah, a former ambassador to the United States, and now former foreign minister. He was only the second Saudi to be appointed foreign minister outside the royal family. During the Gulf Cooperation Summit of regional leaders earlier this month, Jubeir again defended the suspected involvement of the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi.
With regards to issuing an arrest warrant, we don't extradite our citizens. I believe Turkey's constitution prohibits the extradition of Turkish citizens.
Jubeir's demotion follows months of questions, controversy, and denials about the killing of the Saudi journalist and widespread condemnation of the kingdom, including the U.S. congressional resolution which said Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for the killing of his critic. While Donald Trump repeatedly maintained his support for the Crown Prince, senators called for an end to U.S. support for the war in Yemen. Jubeir was appointed foreign minister by King Salman in 2015, a month after Saudi Arabia went to war in Yemen. Airstrikes were launched with the aim of quickly crippling Houthi fighters backed by Iran. Instead, the war has dragged on for almost 4 years, killing at least 60,000 Yemenis. Millions face starvation in what's called the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Jubeir's final months as minister have been marked by turmoil within the GCC, including the Saudi-led air, sea and land blockade of Qatar for the past 18 months. It's unclear if Jubeir's fall from grace in Riyadh is a way to make him a scapegoat for Saudi policies attracting global condemnation, or perhaps the latest attempt to take the heat off the Crown Prince.
The king is now taking a step back, putting Ibrahim Al-Assaf instead of Adel Jubeir, who wasn't in the first place the first choice of the king anyway, because he was very close to King Abdullah, to the late king of Saudi Arabia, rather than to King Salman. So now by having Ibrahim Al-Assaf, who is an old school, he's a veteran. He served as a Minister of Finance for 20 years, from 1996 until 2016. So now he's having him as a foreign minister in order to give the message that now we are back to traditional foreign policy.
Jubeir's successor is Ibrahim Al-Assaf, a former finance minister. He was one of the many Saudi power brokers arrested in last year's purge. His imprisonment in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Riyadh was part of what the Crown Prince called his crackdown on corruption. Now, Saudi Arabia's new foreign minister will inherit not only the controversy that continues to dog his captor, the Crown Prince, but the crisis over the war in Yemen that has also proven difficult to end so far. Dosa Jabari, Al Jazeera.
Rosalind Jordan has more on the U.S. reaction to the Saudi cabinet reshuffle.
The cabinet shakeup in Saudi Arabia may not go far enough towards rehabilitating the country's image, at least with members of the U.S. Congress. Just before they broke for the holiday session, the members in the Senate took two key votes. They voted to pull the U.S.'s support for the Saudi military as it continues its military operations in the Yemeni civil war. And all of the members of the U.S. Senate uniformly endorsed a resolution accusing Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi Crown Prince, of orchestrating the murder on October 2nd of Jamal Khashoggi, the exiled journalist who had gone to the consulate in Istanbul to get papers in order to get married. This is a situation where both Republicans and Democrats believe that the Saudi crown prince, who is widely expected to succeed his father, King Salman, is not running the country in a way that comports with U.S. values, respecting human rights, allowing political expression, endorsing and upholding political liberalization, and supporting women's rights. They believe that because of evidence that they have now been given or presented by the CIA director, Gina Haspel, that there was really no way that Mr. Khashoggi could have been murdered without this being orchestrated by the Saudi crown prince. Senators and members of the House of Representatives both think that there should be someone else in wait to succeed King Salman. They are questioning the U.S.'s continued close relationship with Saudi Arabia, and they have already indicated that when the new Congress convenes in the first week of January 2019, both the Senate and the House are going to be taking a very close look at the relationship between the two countries. And this is going to be really on the onus of the Saudis to prove that they, in fact, are worthy of having close ties with the United States. In this case, according to Congress, it doesn't really matter what the U.S. President Donald Trump thinks about the relationship.
The United Arab Emirates has reopened its embassy in the Syrian capital, Damascus, after being closed for nearly 7 years. The Emirati flag was raised again during a ceremony attended by diplomats and journalists. The UAE broke ties with Syria in February 2012 and was one of several regional states which was backing groups fighting government forces.